Let's talk screened-in porch, or in this case, possibly 3 seasons room. So I built my house about 4 years ago, and the porch was something that was left unfinished. Similar to like the basement, the laundry room, and my pantry area, my lockers, I wanted to spend a lot of time and put great details into these particular areas. So instead of wasting a bunch of time trying to get those things done, I moved my family in with the idea that I would add the details at a later date and time. So the porch I built almost 3 years ago. The only thing that was there was the siding, the roof, and the concrete. Oh, and the fireplace. I did everything else. So the framing was all done in treated green tree lumber. The smart siding I put on the outside was purchased from a local lumber store. And then from there, I developed a pretty cool room that I'm pretty proud to show you guys. Let me walk you through it. So as we enter the screened-in porch, we have 2 different entrances into the main body. We have 2 Pella sliding doors on both sides, which is nice because we can leave those open. The floors are actually exposed aggregate concrete. It's the same floor they poured when they poured my other porches. Gives a good touch. It looks custom. Well, it is custom, but it's not stamped. It's old school. As you look around the room, you can see everything's trimmed out in white smart siding. And then the traditional board and batten, which is a concrete composite board, was done by the builder, or I guess by the framer. As you look upward, you can see the beadboard pine. It's unfinished, not even polyurethaned. We've got a couch that I purchased from California. The home sign actually was purchased online, I believe. All the things I've purchased for this room I'll put in the description along with links to everything. So if you're curious of where I got something and I don't mention it, please look there. The fireplace is a wood burner. It works great. It definitely heats the room up. Let's talk about these windows. They look great. They're not your typical windows, although they do look like them. They're 4-track vertical vinyl windows. So what that means basically is there's not glass inside of them. That's actually vinyl you're looking at. It's basically, they advertise you could actually put your hand through it and the vinyl goes back to the original state. I've not tried that, but they are very flexible. There's 3 major players in this window area, I guess you would call it, or sector. And the first one is Easy Breeze from Menards. They're the only ones different from the other 2 for the fact that they have pins that hold their windows in. The reason why you want to take the windows out, because you have to clean windows and those panes need to come out. And there's 2 different types. There's the ones that have the pins and there's ones that have springs or friction controls on each side. So the Menards windows have the pins, which I wasn't interested in. A lot of moving parts, I could see them easily breaking. The second place I looked at was Sunspace online. They had the same windows, it's like Easy Breeze, a different name, but identical, same specs. But the only problem with them, and they had a spring-loaded window, so no pins. The only problem with them is they didn't have black. They only had the bronze color at the time. The third company I looked at was called Easy Porch, and they had black spring-loaded 4-track vertical windows, and they're the ones I eventually went to. The windows are big. A lot of them are 4 foot wide by 8 foot tall. Some are a little smaller. I think a couple of them are 32s. But for the most part, they're balanced very well, and I pretty much went to the largest sizes that these companies could make. I wanted this room to show the outside, so I wanted very little framework and a lot of visual areas to look out at the woods. We are pretty private back there. I don't have any neighbors, so why try to hide that? The idea of this room was to make it so it's fun to go to and very bright and very relaxing. I think we did a pretty good job of doing that. These windows can be brought down and totally closed off, or you can open them a quarter at a time, so they can be opened 1/4 to half to 3/4. They're in a 3/4 position right now. In the fall and in early spring, we usually shut them up. That way the wind doesn't blow in, or maybe the possible rain, and we keep them shut up during those times. But right now in June in Indiana, they're always going to be open for the most part. So looking at these ceiling fans, I made a kind of a mistake on those. They look great. But the mistake was I ran one circuit to one of them and just daisy chained it to the other one. So when I tried to put a smart control on the fans, I couldn't do it because it can only control one fan and not two. So I made a mistake. A little too late to fix that now, but I'm not really that concerned about it. I also failed to insulate this ceiling, which, you know, it's not a tightly insulated room, but not having the insulation in the ceiling really hurts with heat in the wintertime, or when it gets colder, the heat can easily escape. So probably should have put insulation up there. It may not be too late for that, but for now, it doesn't seem like it's an issue. You know, the fireplace is killer. Say I got plenty of firewood, so it's nothing better than having a real fire burning. Here I'm looking at my two slider doors. They're 10-foot Pella sliding doors. They both open. No screens, don't need them. A lot of times we'll leave those open to get more heat out in this room, especially in the wintertime, or even when it's warmer out, we can open these doors, shut all the windows, and I can get this down to about 70 degrees without any kind of heating and cooling in this area whatsoever. Those doors do a pretty good job of letting the air in and out. The room has a 40-inch television set along with a Sonos sound system. There's a sub underneath the middle seat there. It's got a sound bar above the TV, and then I got two side surrounds that you're looking on the wall right there. The system rumps. It's great watching a movie in there. The sound's phenomenal. If you don't have Sonos, look them up. They're great. Also, I have the light switches here. You can see I actually forgot to turn the can lights on, so I had the upper lights on. I turned the can lights on that are each one of those posts. It gives additional lighting at night. It's a bright room anyways, but all my switches, and most of my switches in my house, are all Lutheran smart switches, which are nice because you can control them from your phone, or you can control them from a remote like I am there, or you can control them from your traditional switch. The barrel, I got that from Napa Valley. It was my wife's birthday present. It might have been her 40th, but I got it shipped here from Napa, and it's a nice little piece. We had a piece of glass made for it. The pipes in the corner, got those from Menards. I think they're 1 inch or 1.5 inch. And then my wife just bought curtains on Amazon. Nothing crazy, but it gives a nice little touch without being too much. We wanted to kind of soften up those corners a little bit. The table we got it at home. It's a fake wood top, but it's really sturdy. It's good quality. We really like it a lot. We eat a lot of dinners there. We don't have our traditional dining room like some homes, so that's kind of our dining room, even during Christmas and Thanksgiving. The room really plays nice with the rest of the house. I love the view out to the rose garden there. I'll give you a tour on that sometime. It's just great having all those windows. You get the fresh air. The room itself is actually at 30 by 16. I was going to make it, the plans originally called for a 30 by 12, but last minute I decided I was going to add 4 feet, and I did. I'm so glad I did. The lights at the top of the room, got those from Amazon. Good quality, pretty reasonable. The mantle was made from hickory on the property. I did that myself. I processed the wood at a processor, brought it back here, and put the mantle up and stained it the color that the rest of our stain is. The white trim boards, smart siding, all 1x material, which is 3/4 inch. So 1x4, 1x6, 1x8, 1x10, and 1x12s. Got it from a local lumber store. It painted great, it caulks great, it looks really nice, it'll last forever. So, didn't want a whole lot of structure, I didn't want a whole lot of walls, and I think I've accomplished that. And I think it looks good. I think it's the look I was looking for, and there's nothing better than having a cup of coffee in the morning, or maybe a glass of wine in the evening. But regardless, my wife and I, we enjoy sitting out here, watching the news or watching a movie. It doesn't really matter. It's nice to have different spots around your house for different reasons, and even the kids seem to like to be out here quite a bit too, so sometimes we actually fight over it. So the price of this room, let's talk about that a little bit. So the most expensive thing obviously was the windows. Came in about $4,200, which isn't bad considering the amount of space that they take. That's shipped to my house. I installed them myself. Pretty simple to install. If the framing was right, like it was, a little silicone, some screws, and those things are in. They went up really fast, and like I said, they're in their 3rd year, and there's nothing wrong with them. The screen door was a couple $100. I spent $1,000 on framing, probably a good $300 on paint, and maybe another $300 on electrical. And we probably decorated the room for another $3,500 all in. So it's an awesome room for about 10 grand, maybe $9,500. That's a wrap. If you like these types of videos, give it a like. Make sure you subscribe. Please share with family and friends. And like I always say, I appreciate you spending time with the Home Pro Hero.